everyone, and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show with the green collar, where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. But I also try to help you expand your palate. That's another purpose of this show. Obviously, expand your palate and save your money, or spend it wisely, however you want to phrase it. Wearing Seahawks colors because they beat the Chicago Bears at home. I knew that was going to happen. I could have guaranteed it. Picked them in my pick'em pool. If I were picking a team, I would have picked the Seahawks for sure to beat Chicago Bears. They're kind of battered up, and it was a good game. Too many field goals for my taste, but you know, I'll take a win. They play Detroit next, and I anticipate a win. Then there'll be a 500 season, and people will quit doubting that the Seahawks could possibly make it to the Super Bowl again. We got some interesting wines. I'm very, very excited to dive into this episode because we have some wines that perhaps you haven't tried yet, and we're doing whites. And I did want to ask the question: how many of you quit drinking whites when the weather starts getting cold? Well, I'm not raising my hand. If you'd like to comment, tell me if that's true. Do you quit? Do you kind of give up on them? I actually don't. I drink rosé year-round. I drink white wines year-round. I love to drink white wine while I'm cooking. I also cook with white wine. So yeah, no, I don't quit drinking white wine. Now perhaps, and this is true, I don't drink as much white wine as I do in the summertime, but I still drink it. Got some interesting wines, and talk about expanding your palate. How many of you have had a white Pinot Noir? White Pinot Noir. Now you might ask, well, how can a Pinot Noir be white? The grapes are red. Well, all juice in grapes are white, so if they don't put it on the skin after they press it, then, or after they macerate it, you know, after they get the stems, destem it, throw it in the fermentation bins, that's where they get the color as the juice and the skins all kind of stay together. They punch down, they stir it up, it gets that color into the white wine. But if they just press it and don't allow contact with the skin, it is going to be white. There's only one grape I know of, and if any of you out there can make me aware of another grape, there's only one grape that actually is red and squeezes out red juice, and that is, see if I can remember to say it at the end of the show. Can you name the grape that only produces red juice and is a red grape? All of the red grapes that I know of produce white juice. This is Left Coast Cellars 2014 White Pinot Noir, the Willamette Valley Estate, and it says the Willamette Valley Estate. Now, I'm not sure if that means Willamette Valley fruit. It says Willamette Valley, Oregon on the back. Okay, very good. $21. White Pinot Noir. The hard thing about tasting this, I tasted a white cab one time. This is the first time I've tasted a white Pinot Noir. Tasted a white cab, and it was really hard mentally to understand that wine at first. And talk about visual influences. I'm going to try to approach this as neutral as possible. I know what regular Pinot Noir tastes like. I'm very curious, without the pigmentation from the skin, what we're going to get out of this one. Very curious. 21 bucks. It actually smells like a Chardonnay to me. It's got a lot of pears and apples. Getting a little bit of white flower element coming through, maybe not carnation, but some sort of a white flower element coming through. There's a little bit of wet stone coming through, which is kind of curious. I'm kind of interested in that. And for some reason, every time I put my nose in there, I get a little bit of coconut and a little bit of white licorice. Is there really such thing as white licorice? I think I've seen it before. But a lot of apples, a lot of pears. Let's see what we get on the palate. Actually, that's really good. Very creamy, almost rich for a white wine on the palate. the apples and pears, there's an herbal component coming through which I find very interesting. Almost like dried herbs of some sort. Almost like tarragon and thyme and no rosemary. It's a little weird in a good way. It's weird in a good way. I get the pears and apples. It almost reminds me of an Asian pear and like a real light apple component. Very, like I said, it's almost heavy on the palate, but it's not. Get a little bit of minerality coming through. Very kind of astringent on the finish. It almost, it's like you chewed on grape skins actually. You actually chewed on the grape skins. Like you squeeze a grape out in the vineyard, you picked it off the vine, you squeeze it, and then just chewed on this grape skin. That's the element I'm getting through on this one. It's an interesting wine. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. I get a little bit of that Pinot Noir character that's coming through without the redness. Definitely a wet stone on the mid palate. Almost bitter on the finish. Now, granted, I have not tasted any other white Pinot Noir to compare this to, but if I were just to grade this, I'd go B-. I think the bitterness on the back end needs food. I think with food it'd be much better, but I'm going to go B-. I have nothing to compare it to. I think it's a good wine. I like that richness on the palate. I like the fact that it has no oak, obviously. If it doesn't, it's not coming through, or maybe, no. Wonder if it said anything on the back of the label. Our wines are planted on ancient sandstone soil, old growth. Definitely you get that wet rock thing going on. This Blanc de Pinot Noir is aged in stainless steel. There you go. I don't know, some of you are going to like it. You definitely food. This would be great with halibut. I would definitely have it with halibut. I'd have it with chicken for sure. Might even be a good turkey wine, although it might be a little bit too bitter on the end for that. But a roasted chicken with a lot of seasonings on it would be really delicious. Yeah, I'm going to go B-, maybe hedging towards B. Let's move on. Talk about expanding your palate. Go try a white Pinot Noir. Left Coast Cellars. There you go. Now we're going to go to Paso Robles. I don't know if you remember, I tasted a Tempranillo from this same producer. Casa de Arquila, 2012 Garnacha Blanca. So this is white Grenache, basically. Again, maybe a wine you don't always go to. They use it a lot in the Rhone Valley. There we go. All right, there's a label. $14 from Paso Robles. White Grenache. Like I said, they use this a lot in the Rhone Valley. You'll get a lot of Grenache Blanc in the blends. They use some white blends, red blends. They'll add it to that sometimes. I've never seen a white Grenache from Spain yet. I have not. Grenache Blanc. Let's see what we get on the nose. Okay, this is a real interesting nose. I get like a watermelon Jolly Rancher meets lemon. A lot of like ripe lemon. A little perfumey on the nose, which I like. It's a very interesting nose. Definitely a little bit of melon, but boy, that almost like a bubblegum aspect comes through. I get the lemon, like Meyer's lemon, that sweeter style lemon coming through on the nose. This one also has a little bit of wet stone, which is really curious. Yeah, it just reminds me of smelling a pack of, almost like a juicy fruit gum, you know, the stripes on it. Yeah, very interesting. Let's see what we get on the palate. Excuse me 1 second. Once again, forgot to turn on the microphone. Now, I will tell you, when you do these things at lunch, you come home from lunch, you get a quick bite to eat, and then you set up the stage. Sometimes you forget certain things. I just have to have a checklist, mental checklist. This, might, boom, boom, boom. Sometimes I forget. Very interesting on the palate. I get melon and a diesel, big time diesel component, almost like, not gasoline, but definitely diesel coming through, petroleum big time on the palate, and a lot of, getting a little bit of white pepper on the finish. Very creamy on the mid palate, but this is kind of a, the white Pinot Noir was kind of weird. This is really weird, that petrol coming through. Now you guys that like Riesling from Germany, or that have that real heavy petrol, you'll love this wine. No sweetness at all. This is dry. Crazy, it's almost like a pear dunked in diesel. It is so diesel-y, it's so petroleum based. You know, I really don't like this wine. It's a little bit awkward. It's kind of funky on the palate. I mean, it's so heavy in the petroleum section and the white pepper on the finish. It just feels weird and awkward on the palate. There's nothing delicious about this at all. There's nothing that I would take home with me and say, wow, I really need this bottle of wine. Unless you like sucking on petroleum. Then you're going to love it. I'm going to go C minus D plus on that wine. I really don't like it. Let's move on. Now you see, I say I really don't like it. From a wine critic standpoint, there's nothing appealing about that wine at all. At all. Zero. Period. I don't know what they're trying to achieve. I don't know if they want it to be all petrol and melon, but there's just nothing. It's very one-dimensional. It's got a viscous on the palate a little bit, and that white pepper on the finish. I just don't see where that wine is going. I don't see the direction it wants to go. I don't understand it. Therefore, C minus, D plus. Let's move on. Now we're going to Portugal, just because if you want to expand your palate, you need to get some whites out of Portugal, and reds, same way. This is a Dow red up in the Douro. This is Quinta de Sas from the Dow. Well, it's not the Douro. Below the Douro. And this is Cojita 2012, vintage 2012. This is $16. And get this. I didn't mean the Douro. Dow. Wow. Okay. 40% Circial. Or Circial. No, Circial. 40% Bical and 20% Incruzado. You ever heard of those grapes? Well, that's what these are from the Dow. Let's do a little rinse, get that petrol out of the glass. That one wore out my palate. Crazy. Give you a little zoom in on the label here. By the way, I don't know who gave me this sample. If you're watching, any of you, my guys out there that give me wines to try for the store and for YouTube, I need to know who gave this to me. I have no idea. I tried to find out and I just could not find out. I had to go to Wine Searcher to get the price. let's see what we get on the nose. This has a little honey, melon, and crushed rock. Little touch, just a tiny, tiny hit of stink, which I like. Stink in a good way. Just kind of that old world sort of stink that comes through. There's a little herbal component there. Let's see what we get on the palate. Very nice, almost a lot of finesse on the palate, which I like. I get this little bit of melon, like cassava melon. Get a little bit of honey. I get a little bit of lemon coming through, and right on the back side I get like a tangerine sort of orange blossom thing going on, and lots of crushed rock, but not like gravelly, almost like smooth stone, like riverbed rock. You know, just kind of that really that stony sort of flavor coming through. You get a little bit of dried herbs. I like this one. It has a little, you know, it has enough fruit to keep your palate kind of alive. Good acidity and good minerality. All of those things add up to a really nice wine. If you want to try a really interesting wine, expand your palate horizons for 16 bucks, I would definitely go do this one. It is called, actually it's, I can't even read that. I think I wrote it down. Yes, Alvera Castro, Quinto de Sas, Duro Branco, they call it. Duro Branco, or Dao Branco. Excuse me. I don't know why I got Duro stuck in my head. They're different regions in Portugal. Dao, Duro, different. Okay, got it? Got it, Stan? Got it? We know that, right? I got that stuck in my head for some reason. And very nice wine. Very interesting. It's dry, but it has enough fruit to keep your palate kind of interested in what's going on there. Good balance, nice flow across the palate. Very elegant. I mean, it has the flavors, but it's very elegant. It doesn't just pow you in the face with old world. It kind of eases your palate in there. You know, I'm going to go B+ on that wine. I think it's really good. Nice clean finish. Thanks for watching. And the one grape, almost forgot, didn't forget though, the one grape that I know of, the red grape that actually presses out red juice, is Alicante Bouschet. And there you go, a little lesson in wine. But if you know of another one, make a comment, tell me about it. I was with a couple guys, we really put our head together, we researched, we could not find, and yet it says that there's more than one. So I need to know what the other ones are. Really do. That means a lot to me. Thanks for watching, and remember, wine is not a mystery. It is just fermented grape juice. Drink it. Enjoy it. Be willing to expand your palate horizons like this. Try new things. But never ever let anybody tell you what you should or shouldn't like. And if you do that together, you and I, we can take the stop out of wine.